The Society of Massage Archives wishes to congratulate Dr. Patricia Benjamin on the occasion of the 10th anniversary of her book, The Emergence of the Massage Therapy Profession in North America, A History in Archetypes. To honor this milestone, SOMA is launching the Adopt a Box campaign, a last chance to rescue and distribute the physical copies of this essential text before they disappear. You can help get a box of books into massage schools, libraries, practitioners, and educators' hands. And starting soon, join us for the SOMA Book Club, a monthly conversation where we'll read The Emergence and reflect on the stories, struggles, and triumphs that shaped our profession. Help us preserve massage history and carry it forward.
Now, there is a book. This is called The Emergence of Massage Therapy Profession in America. This was done by Pat Benjamin. She's done an extraordinary job capturing the history.
Well, of course, there is Patricia Benjamin's book. That's the most extensive look at that.
Now, I do have a book that I think you're well aware of, and I think that you can see it. I learned a lot from this.
We've found that Pat Benjamin's book on the history, there are still some hard copies left of that we're trying to secure. And there is a PDF version of that book available through the publisher's website, but they've gone out of business.
I have some of the other resources of things that, Pat Benjamin's book and some other texts and things I have that I know are no longer printed that I will probably want to hold on to just because I think they're historically valuable things that are part of our evolution.
Patricia Benjamin wrote an excellent book on the history of massage that I still use to this day.
This is The Emergence of the Massage Therapy Profession in North America, A History in Archetypes by Dr. Patricia Benjamin. This book was published 10 years ago, and it remains one of the only 2 books ever written that extensively documents the history of massage therapy. This book provides a deep dive into the key moments, people, and challenges that have shaped modern massage therapy, making this book an invaluable resource for anyone interested in our history.
The questions that really was a foundation of the book was, okay, how did we get here? Why does the profession look the way it does? My approach was going to be chronological. Okay, so I started with the 90s and I said, okay, how did we get here? Well, how did they get there? Well, how did they get there? You could trace it back if I did it methodically, and I learned a lot.
We did not have many books on the history of massage therapy, if any. Needed to be written about it, at least articles like what Patricia had been doing needed to be read and understood and made a part of our community knowledge.
So Deborah Curtis agreed to, that this would be a good idea to have this massage history book. Said, okay, write me a chapter. And I'm racking my brain. I've got all these little pieces, decade this happened, so I wrote this chapter, and she says, Pat, this really isn't all that great, and I kind of knew that, but I was at a loss.
The history is really about care, right? And that's what Pat Benjamin's book is all about, right? We were either nurses or midwives or barbers.
At the time I was doing puppetry, I got tuned into, there were stereotypical type characters, the villain, the hero, the, whatever. And I thought, I said, these are like archetypes. I wonder if I can work that into, instead of trying a chronological approach. So I thought, well, maybe I can find archetypes where you get enough people that were representative of the work being done at a particular time in a particular place that you could name an archetype. And from then on, it was, once I got that framework for the book, it was putting the pieces together.
When you did your interview with Patricia Benjamin, she talked about part of her interest in history came from wanting to access primary sources. Oral history tends a little inaccurate. Even written history can shift as time goes.
The book is heavily resourced because I wanted it to be a legitimate academic piece, of history. And so it's very heavily resourced, including the pictures.
As a profession, it would behoove us to recognize the deep integrity of what we do across societies. Patricia Benjamin did a remarkable text on massage therapy history, which I still refer to quite often.